Test, test. Yep. Okay. Yes, thank you, Mr. Vice Chair. Time is 10 a.m. and I'll proceed with the roll call here. Pat Littlejohn, Mario Lewis, Ed Parler, Ray Fantone,
Present.
Robert McLean.
Here.
Okay.
We have 4 out of 5 members here, which would be a quorum. And Ms. Wilson, was the agenda, was everything posted properly?
Yes, sir, it was. Mm-hmm.
Good, could we rise to the Pledge of Allegiance?
And Mr. Vice Chair, if I could just make a quick comment. I appreciate everybody being so accommodating for this. We had some scheduling things and some things going on. So generally, this is not our original time to meet, but I want to thank each and every one of you for adjusting your schedule and being here today. So thank you.
Before you have minutes of the June 16th meeting, please review any questions, comments, or changes.
I just noticed I snuck the agenda page in there twice, so, so sorry about that.
Yes, okay. Is there a little switch here? Thank you. You are dealing with a very techno-deficient individual. Thank you, Jordan. All right. Is there a motion? Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes, minutes approved. Mr. Wilson, we have one action item here today. It's a variance request, the 2024 VA 02 at 825 Scarlet Oak Drive. If you would, please.
Yes, sir. Thank you, Mr. Chair. Yeah, I believe the applicant is with us today here. This is Mr. Pierre Orion, excuse me, Orion, thank you. Yeah, so the application we have for us today is a request for a variance from the side setback. And this is for a detached garage located, and it is going to be located within the side 15-foot setback. So I believe on page 8 or 9, and I'll try and pull it up on the screen here, there is a site plan at the very back, actually. Yeah, so there's a site plan. The building is shaded in yellow, and if it might be easier if you want to turn around and see it. So you see kind of the way the property goes back at an angle. It looks like, you know, kind of that back left corner is going to just barely be over the setback, but then as we, you know, come further towards the road, you know, it kind of eats in there a little bit more. One thing that I did not see that maybe you can help clarify as far as how far into the setback is it going to be? And we may have talked about that when you came to the office, but I couldn't remember.
No more than 6 to 7 feet beyond the setback.
Closer to the road, right? And then as it goes back, maybe a foot or something like that. Okay, yep. So, but yeah, yes, like I said, in the application, like I said, the site plan demonstrates the detached garage, and where it's gonna be placed. And then he has also provided, kind of a detailed, explanation in here, where he addresses, these items here. And if you wanna take time to go through, I think he's got 5 items here. And then he also has provided some pictures, showing his driveway, but the detached garage will be directly behind this driveway, correct? Okay. And then there's also a rendering here of what the detached garage will look like once finished.
Is that rendering facing the street? So that's what you'd see from the street at the end of the driveway?
Is that, and actually here, if you want to come up here to the mic, thank you, sir.
No, I think that's just typical. Thank you. Yeah, that's just a similar, that's just a similar thing, I think.
I'm sorry, could you please repeat the question?
Yeah, you included this picture here?
Yes.
Which I assume is a rendering of what it's gonna look like.
Yes,
Is the garage door facing the neighbor's house, or is it facing the street?
facing the street.
Okay, great.
Yes, sir.
Good morning.
Good morning. My first question would be, I know there's covenants and restrictions in the board and an HOA in Ashley Oaks. Has this been before the HOA, and have they given their approval?
Well, they requested that I bring it before you first, and then once I gained approval from the town of Blythewood, then they normally would just go along with whatever you guys recommend.
Okay.
So in other words, if there were no objections from the town of Blythewood, then they wouldn't have a problem with it either.
Also, I have are detached garages allowed in Ashley Oaks?
Yes, they are, sir.
Yes, yes, they are.
Okay.
And also, just to bring to the board's attention, we have had 2 other detached garages come, maybe it's 3, I'm sorry, it's 2 or 3, that have come before the BZA here in the last 24 to 36 months, in addition to a pool as well.
I've included several photos of other homes within the community that have detached garages. I think I found at least 5 or 6. I didn't canvass the entire community, but within, just in the small sample that I accumulated, there were at least 5 or 6 homes that have detached garages in my immediate vicinity.
That sounds right. Obviously, each detached garage has not needed a variance, but I know from having reviewed plans and permitting that I have seen 5, 6, maybe 7 since the neighborhood has been completed.
I guess I do have a question.
You go ahead, Mark.
So I'm understanding that the front left part of the proposed structure would exceed that line by 6 feet.
Yes, sir.
So I guess in times past where the variances have been approved, I guess I'm wondering were the infraction of that area, were they similar, or were they larger, or were they smaller? I just did have that question.
That's a good question, Mr. Lewis. So we did one back in June, actually, the minutes that we just went over. Mr. Gloweski, I might be butchering that, I'm sorry, but his was 8 feet into the side setback. His was 8 feet. We've had the other one that I can remember, I think, was closer to 4 or 5. But again, the one we had last June was 8 feet.
Thank you.
I got 2 questions. Have you spoken to your neighbor and what his feelings are with you being so close to the line, or?
Yeah, I have a good rapport with my neighbor. We
Okay.
spoke about it, and it's to his understanding that it's not going to impede or exceed, go onto his property line.
Okay.
Still, although I'm requesting for it to go beyond the setback, it'll be well within my property line. It
Right.
won't impede his border at all, and they have no problem.
Did you consider pushing it back so it was actually within the 10-foot setback, if it was just pushed further into the backyard?
Yes, sir. I had an engineer come to the property, and there's a considerable decline in the backyard. And so pushing it back would create other engineering obstacles, and architecturally, it would be a little bit of a challenge. It would require a much higher retention wall, and the cost would be almost, it would become cost prohibitive at that point.
Thank you.
And I can confirm, I spoke with the engineer, however many months ago that was. But, and had a good conversation with him, and I just want to echo everything that the applicant is stating is correct, you know, because I tried to get it so we wouldn't have to go, you know, in front of the BZA, but as the engineer said, you know, it wasn't going to be feasible with the topo.
Okay, that's fair. And then from so I think, I'm looking at the image here of your neighbor's home. It looks like, I'm not sure what's on that side of the house. I don't see many windows. You said you have a good rapport with them. Did the engineer also talk to you, Kirk, about stormwater drainage or water runoff? I know that it's a sloped lot, so make sure that there's no other, you know, water impacts.
Sure, yeah, fair question. We did not. We didn't get into that aspect of it. No, sir.
Okay.
One further question. The gap between the current home and the detached building.
Yes, sir.
Number one, was there any insight as to why this could not be moved closer or
Well, I
tied
believe-
into the building,
Sure.
to the house?
I believe that according to code, there had to be a minimum amount of feet, which I can't remember the exact number in this moment, but there's a minimum amount of feet that you're allowed to have the garage, any structure really, as far as it relates to the home. And so when they drew up the plans, they took that into consideration, and they took it as close as they possibly could and still remain within code.
Second, that gap between, do you have any plans to put any type of shrubbery or any type
No,
of landscaping there between
The
that
plan
and the
was-
house?
There's currently grass there in the moment. The plan was to just cement it over and create a walkway, like a pedestrian path leading from the garage. So there'd be like a go-between to lead into the backyard.
So when you look at the proposed placement of the structure, does it start right at the end of where the current sidewalk ends? I mean,
A few feet beyond. If it were any closer, it would cause a greater variance in the setback. So again, trying to get to the best of both worlds, so to speak.
Right.
They did push it back a little bit. I believe it's somewhere between 5 and 6 feet recessed back a little bit to try to get the best of both worlds, to cause as little variance as possible, variation as possible, as far as to violate or to go beyond the variance, so to speak.
okay, thank you.
Sure.
And I also assume you're going to be pouring more concrete, so you've kind of got that L-shaped driveway as it is. I'm assuming you have to pour more concrete to shore up and get
Yes.
to that as well, too.
Yes, sir, yes.
Gotcha.
Any other questions? I see no one in the audience makes,
Nobody's here to object.
unless it's you, Jordan. Kurt, would you go through the 5 issues that we need to address? Because I don't see them in the packet.
And while you're doing that, just also think about, is it within our purview to discuss or have concerns about stormwater drainage? If I wanted to bring back a question to the engineer about, if you add more concrete, where does the water drain on your property as it is now? What I'm trying to get at is adding more concrete or adding another structure going to potentially cause runoff to go into your neighbor's property, potentially, you know, cause any damage or harm to them, and then, you know, we've issued you an approval?
No, actually, I think it would prevent that from
Okay.
happening. We had an issue in July of last year, 2025, where there was a small water main break
Okay.
on the property, and there was some runoff that, because of the leveling of the ground, so to speak, there was runoff that started in the front and went towards like the backyard, and with the addition of concrete, it would actually raise the level to make it flatter or more, you know, to minimize the decline, so to speak. So if anything, it would counteract that, so to speak.
Okay.
So I'm sure I'm not using all the proper
No, of
engineering
course.
terms or whatever, but
Yeah.
but in layman's terms,
Sure.
it would counteract that. So if anything, it would prove to be a benefit.
I do think that's a reasonable request within the BZA's purview, certainly as it pertains to these residential lots. So I do think it's a fair question.
Sure. My only lens I look through is anything you're doing going to potentially harm somebody else, right?
No,
So that's the lens I'm looking through this as, not to potentially forgo you from having your liberty and doing what you want to do in your property, but that was just
Right.
the reason for the question.
I'm confident that it actually would not. That, like I said, much to the contrary.
Okay.
I think it would enhance the situation.
Well, that is a fair question, and if we have any other situations like this, when I speak to the engineer, I do think it's reasonable for me to mention it, you know, because I do think it does fall under the board's purview. Such as you said, not to prohibit an applicant from doing what they would like to do, but, you know, we certainly don't want to harm anybody else's property in allowing something like this, so.
Well, I mean, I do think that goes to the questions we see before us.
Yes.
If everyone from the board would, I don't know what that's numbered, page 2 of
Yep.
2.
And I will read it out, and then we can, the board can make their determination. So,
Thank you, sir.
Again, in order to grant a variance, the Board of Zoning Appeals must find that all of the requirements below are met. This is from section 155.466, letter B. A variance may be granted if the board makes all of the following findings and conclusions in order. A, there are extraordinary or exceptional conditions pertaining to this particular piece of property. You want me to read through them all and then, or
Please read through them all, and then
And then answer at the end?
We can do that.
We'll answer at the end.
Okay.
do that?
That's okay.
All right, I'll repeat the first one. There are extraordinary and exceptional conditions pertaining to a particular piece of property. B, these conditions do not generally apply to other property in the vicinity. C, because of these conditions, the application of the chapter to particular piece of property would effectively prohibit or unreasonably restrict utilization of the property. D, the authorization of the variance will not be substantial detriment to the adjacent property or to public good, and the character of the district will not be harmed by granting of the variance. And E, the effect of the variance would not allow the establishment of a use not otherwise permitted in the zoning district, would not extend physically a non-conforming use of land, would not change the zoning district boundaries shown on the official map.
Does anyone on the board have any response or any conflict with the statements given above? Or any disagreement? Is there a motion?
I move that we approve the variance request.
Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? The ayes have it.
Thank you.
Variance granted.
Thank you very much. Thank
Yes, sir. And I know I've spoken to your contractor too, so I can't remember his name though, but certainly if you want to just pass along this information. And so, yeah, next step is he just needs to submit the plans.
Okay.
And application for permit, and we'll get that under review, and Once that's approved, then we can get it issued and get you started.
Thank you very much. I appreciate your time. Thank you.
My pleasure.
Thank you for your
Good to have you here.
Thank you for your
Good work. Good luck, excuse me.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Hello out there. Any citizen comments, open session? If not, do I have a move for adjournment?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
We are so moved. Thank you.
20 minutes.